Hello, welcome to I'm Son. I hope you're all well. So this video is all about, they're looking forward to Arsenal against West Ham tomorrow. And does Nuno Espirito Santo, West Ham manager, does he have the players at his disposal to go to Arsenal, who are riding high, of course, and they play some great football and all that kind of stuff. Let's just, give them the plaudits that they deserve. But can West Ham, who have been playing crap this season, but now under Nuno Espirito Santo, we've got a decent draw away at Everton on Monday night. Can he take this group of players that he's only worked with for another 3 days after the Everton game? Can he take these players and take them to Arsenal and get a result? Do we need extra players? We've always said within the West Ham world, as it were, that look, we desperately need a decent striker, maybe two, maybe three, right? We desperately need those strikers. We looking at our defence, we need somebody else in there. Our defence really isn't good enough. So these are the main areas now where you could say this is where major attention is required. So on the left, let's say the left side of the park, Somerville, great performance, and if he gets injured or whatever, we've got a Guillermo there who can go in there and do a job for us right now. Probably a bit too early to tell whether Guillermo is a great understudy or whether he could take over or whether Somerville is going to be great for us long term. But we've got some depth there. On the right hand side, we've got Bowen. We haven't really got anybody for Bowen. Maybe Wan-Bissaka, who would come up there a little bit and just play that kind of overlapping run. But we kind of on left and right, we haven't got a lot of depth there, but we're okay if everything works out okay. Right side of defence, Kyle Walker-Peters or Wan-Bissaka. Left side, we've got Juve, right? So far, left and right, up and down, backwards and forwards, as it were, we're not doing too bad. These are not priorities to get bodies. Centre of the park, that's where we had those priorities. Well, we've got Magassa, we've got Fernandes now. Souček, I still think has a role to play. James Ward-Prowse, possibly not. He's going to have to really impress Nuno to even get a mention anymore, or even to get on the subs bench. I'm not saying it's not possible, but now we've got Fernandes and Magassa. Centre of the park is probably not the priority. For me, where's the priority? And I'm sure you probably agree. In fact, most people have been talking about this for a long, long time. It's central defence where we got the problem. Because I think we've sorted out the issue with the goalkeeper. In that Areola's in there now. We've got safer hands. I'm not saying safe hands, but safer hands. Hermansen has to grow into the position. He might come back into it. We just don't know. But right now, Areola, it seems to be that, why would you change a goalkeeper that's performing okay? So central defence, we know that's the problem. And up front, right through the middle. So if we're going to believe in Nuno Espirito Santo to bring us some kind of performances and bring us some kind of results, positive results, then we've got to believe that changes need to be made. Now, are we talking about changes in personnel, or are we talking about changes in application, or are we talking about changes in tactics, changes in formations? Let's just say, for example, we wanted to change things at the back. And let's just say we wanted to change formation. And we wanted to go ultra defensive. So we want to play 3 at the back or 5 at the back, right? So 3 at the back. So you're going to need Max Kilman there, and you're going to need Mavropanos there, and you're going to need Todibo there, right? So you could say, well, what about Igor? Get him in there. But then these are kind of unproven, and Nuno's got to be working out over the last few days whether these players are really fit for purpose. To start messing around with formations, to start putting his faith in 2 or 3 players at the back that is going to keep it all secure. I think he's got faith in Juve, and I think he's got faith in Kyle Walker-Peters. Why wouldn't you? Because they have performed. You got faith in Somerville and Guillaume to a certain extent because they've performed. You got faith in Bowen because he's performed. So it's that central channel where you're kind of thinking, and probably in the centre of the park, it needs attention, no doubt. but it doesn't require immediate attention. So it's what's in front of the goalkeeper, that central defence pairing, and up front. So do you start messing around with changing in formations? Personally, I wouldn't. So I would just keep it 4 at the back and keep it really tight. Now, they've been working with the defenders all week. Okay, came back from Everton. He's been working. We had footage from the club. Been working with the players. But how much can things really change within just a few days? How better can these players get? You know, does it really take another 2 weeks of the international break to really get the message in for the players to really start understanding? And part of me believes that if that is the case, then we really are in trouble. Because if the players can't suddenly understand what this new manager wants and how they should be playing, then we've got a bit of a problem. Because they should be able to pick this up a lot sooner than I'm suggesting that they might need. But we saw evidence of this in the Everton game. With only a day that he's worked with them, 1 training session, they were able to put on a performance, especially in the second half, that lifted our spirits as West Ham fans. It gave us a little bit of faith that, hey, we've got a bit of a fight there. We can actually go to teams or bring teams to London Stadium. And, we're not going to be there whipping boys. We can stand and fight. We can stand our ground. We can hold our own. But now we're talking about a different level of opposition, aren't we? Let's make no bones about it. It's a different level of opposition. Regardless of what's happened in the last 2 seasons of us going there and getting wins, it's a different level of opposition. Whereas we are so bad in that defensive area. Hopefully he's worked with these players, with Todibo, with Igor as well, but especially with Mavropanos and Kilman, that partnership has existed. Work on that as opposed to bringing in something new that isn't really working or hasn't really worked. Work with that. Try and shore that up. What about in front of defence? Help them get those guys to shore up the defence as well. Do we need extra players? I believe we do. I think we need definitely another defender. Another defender who Nuno can identify, that can come in and work with the improving players. He's got so much work to do here to improve us. It's unreal. But we definitely need something in defence. I'm not sure whether our defence is going to be able to hold up against Arsenal, especially the corners, especially set pieces, any crosses coming in. He would have to work miracles for him to have turned these players around within a week. I think because they've been so bad. Now, up front, strikers. Is Callum Wilson the kind of player that Nuno Espirito Santo is going to put his faith in to play his kind of football? Well, I don't believe so. I don't believe that Callum Wilson is going to be the kind of player that is going to sit there, play with his back to goal, hold up play, and then just feed it out to the wings, let's say left or right, then turn and stroll into the 18-yard box and wait for a cross to come in. I just don't believe he's that kind of player. Of course, any striker should be able to do that. Now, can he change it up a little bit in terms of the strikers that we got? What about this Callum Marshall question? Can he bring him in? It just doesn't appear to me that fits in with how Nuno Espirito Santo wants to set up West Ham currently with a group of players. Now, he could be brave. And he could have Callum Marshall starting. I doubt it. He could be brave and have Callum Marshall on the subs bench and come on instead of full group. He could be brave and change the way we play in terms of going forward and have Callum Wilson starting, let's say, and just say, right, okay, we're going to play through the channels and just play on the half turn, play on the last defender. As soon as that ball comes through, that's it, run those channels and go one-on-one with the keeper, that kind of thing. Turn the defenders. It could be, but I just don't see it. That's the problem. I've been saying ever since Nuno Espirito Santo was mentioned, or even before that, we were talking about a new manager. I was saying I don't believe we've got the players to get any consistency in great results. It's going to have to take a lot of work. Now, I was impressed by Nuno Espirito Santo in what he did with the game against Everton. Again, I was kind of impressed with his press conference this week and what he was saying as well. But he's freely acknowledging there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work to do. Yes, yes. He's kind of nodding. Yes, yes. Defence, yes. Yes, yeah. Big problem, yeah. He acknowledges it. We know it. That you would imagine for this game, regardless of what other players are available, he's going to go with Füllkrug. Because that's the nearest player he's got to what he's had in the past. Somebody who just sits there, not necessarily ultra mobile, but who can be dependable to get that ball, get it slightly under control, and then just meander into the box and wait for a cross and hopefully get on the end of it. Now, this is going to come out of left field. After the Arsenal game, we've got Brentford at home. If Füllkrug has a stinker, if Callum Wilson has a stinker as well, and Callum Marshall is just not really in the running, who else could you put up there that might be able to do a job in that kind of setup? In other words, just hold the ball up, simple ball out to the wings, turn, stroll into the 18-yard box and try and get on the end of a cross, maybe on the end of a free kick. Who's tall, who's got some presence. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but possibly there's only one player that he's got at his disposal that could possibly do something like that, and that would be Souček. And I know what he's thinking. What? You want about? No, sure not. But here's my logic. It's about how Nuno is going to play with these kinds of players. Because getting it out to the wings and into the midfield, and if Paqueta improves his game as well, and his consistency of his game, and his overall plan, his idea of, and his vision of what he needs to do, then I think central midfield, I think we're okay. Yeah, Magassa for Potts, interchange those two. Fernandes, Paqueta, yeah, I can see that. But it's the up front issue. Are they going to perform? Can we get a performance out there? Can we get crosses and balls into them so that we can have a chance of scoring? Well, even on the counter-attack or even on set plays. We need height. We need height and some kind of stature to be able to go up against Arsenal defence as well. Now, I've been saying all week that we need to be able to frustrate Arsenal. And any team for that matter. But we need to be able to stop them playing. So we need to have high energy. We need to be able to go in there with a plan to not necessarily rough them up, physically cheat, but I'm talking about getting close to them. We can't let them have free headers in our box. So we've got to get really close to them. Make them know, or let them know, that we're right there with them. They're not going to have any space. And this is all over the park. It takes a lot of commitment, it takes a lot of high energy. Now, to ask this kind of group of players that we've got that haven't been performing for a longest time to incorporate that into their game, to have that, that's going to take a lot of work for Nuno Espirito Santo to be able to inject that kind of belief into them and for them to buy into it. Hopefully they can. But it's going to take a high energy to be able to put Arsenal under threat or to even stop them playing so we can come away with a draw and a hopeful win. And that, I think at this stage, all it is a hopeful win. But our weakness is defence. They know it. Every other team in the division knows it. And we definitely know it. We also know that our weakness is in attack. We know it. Everybody else knows it. That's it. We can't score goals and we leak goals in. That's the problem. So that's the conundrum that our manager has. Limited time to go into this game again with a group of players that we've got. We're in desperate need of other players to raise the quality out of our defence and of our strikers. So we need to go in there with a plan. Now, it might not be the kind of football that any of us want to see, but it's the kind of football that basically that's all we got. So, with all that in mind, can we get a result against Arsenal? I am 100% convinced that we can. And I believe that of all the managers we've had in the last few years, Nuno Espirito Santo has given me that belief. And I know it's so early days. And I know it's not the kind of football that I necessarily want to see. But I think it could be the kind of football that will excite me if we're great in defence, we're showing everybody that we've got the fight, and that we can get the ball forward as we were doing the second half with against Everton, but with greater quality and greater accuracy, and get at Arsenal. I believe that we can do it. I'm not sure we can win, but I definitely feel that we can stop them playing and stop them beating us. Now, there's one thing that I'm going to put it to you. I've been hearing reports this week, or people commenting, saying, you know what, listen, it's Arsenal. It's, we've got to give it to Nuno. If he doesn't get a result, he doesn't get a result. It's a free hit, really. You got the international break. And before Nuno was appointed, I was basically saying the similar kind of thing, in that, look, any new manager coming in, if he takes control of these two games, Everton and Arsenal, we want to try and get him to do as best he can. But really, it's the Brentford game at home. That's one that he's really got to show and deliver a performance and, bring home a win, really, right? That's what we're really hoping for. But ever since I saw the Everton game, I've kind of been changing my whole attitude to this 100%. In that, I believe that if Nuno Espirito Santo doesn't go there with the intention of winning the game and giving Arsenal a bloody nose, then I'm going to be really disappointed. In fact, I'm going to be hopping mad. And the reason is because you've already shown with one day's work that you can get a team working and hustling and getting in their faces and making it uncomfortable. And, it wasn't perfect. There was a long way to go. There were lots of mistakes made. And, yeah, their goal was a definite indictment of how crap we are at defending. But you've got another 3 or 4 days of work with this group of players. They've got to know you. You're making big plays, and saying, well, I know them, but they got to get to know me. And if he sets up in a setup and a way of playing to not even try and win the game, try and get at Arsenal, and just be content to just be ultra defensive and just be very lackluster in going forward on the counter attack, even with the players that we've got, even with the problems that we've got, I'm going to be really disappointed. I'll be really disappointed in the players if we concede a goal, which I'm kind of expecting. I am expecting that from Arsenal, right? That our heads just drop and we just capitulate and we just get stuffed 5-6 down. In fact, you'll see me hopping mad, coming back with the videos saying, what the fuck was all that about? Because what it does, it shows you that with this group of players, this new manager, they're not listening. Therefore, if they're not willing to fight, which is the absolute minimum we expect, if they're not willing to fight, if they're not willing to go at other teams, and I'm not saying, recklessly and just leave yourselves wide open at the back. I'm saying go at teams, stop them playing, get in their faces, rough them up a little bit, frustrate them a little bit, hit them hard on the counter attack if that's the kind of style of football that we're going to play. Make sure you got lots of energy in your defensive work, in your midfield work, and also in your attacks. But if that doesn't happen, then it goes to show that the Everton posturing, the Everton display was a flash in the pan. The players they just haven't got it within them. They haven't got that right stuff, which you talk about, to continue this. And we're going to have to wait until Nuno can try and get 1 or 2 players, if he can, if the board is going to support him, and the kind of crap players that we're going to be able to get in the January transfer window, or we're going to have to struggle until the summer until we can get a few more players. So that's where I'm at. I don't believe we're going to win, but I'm hopeful. But what I'm really expecting is that we take it to Arsenal. We really get stuck in their faces, even though we need different people, different players in defence, even though we need different strikers. We need to have something changed. So is Nuno Espirito Santo able to improve the subpar players that we've got? Or are we really on a waiting game until we get new players in? Whomever they are, right? Whomever they are, it doesn't really make a difference who at this stage, who they are, what names have been associated with us. Who we think that Nuno Espirito Santo really should be going in January. It doesn't make a difference, because until that point, you've got to work with the players that we've got. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm convinced that we need extra players. We definitely need another striker, a striker that is mobile, but good in the air, all that kind of stuff, and fits in with the way that Nuno Espirito Santo wants to play. I'm not convinced as yet. Fulkrug, Wilson, and obviously Callum Marshall we haven't seen yet. Under Nuno, we can't tell whether they're going to be any good. I think Fulkrug's going to start, unless he picks up an injury, of course. Fulkrug's going to start. And I would say Mavropanos and Kilman at the back there as well. Unless something's dramatically changed in training this week and you want to swap it all out. I'm still saying it's going to be a 4-5-1. Well, the 5 in the middle, as I always say, it depends on what configuration you want. I'll always call it a 4-5-1. 4-5. I think that's where we're going to go. I think, and unless Wan-Bissaka's miraculously recovered here, Kyle Walker-Peters on the right, Juve on the left, Kilman and Mavropanos in the middle, Ariel in goalkeeper. We got, I think we're going to go Magassa and Fernandez in midfield with Paqueta just in front. And the reason is because I think they're going to be trying for this high press and trying to upset Arsenal early on. That's when Magassa comes in. Then do the old switcheroo substitute in the second half with Potts. Potts comes in on 60 minutes, and then we get a bit more grip on the game there. And then a Fulkrug up front, Bowen on the right, some of it on the left. That's, I think, we're going to set up. Let's see, second half substitutes. Guillem might come on as well. We just don't know at this stage. Callum Wilson on for Fulkrug. I hope that if the game is opening up itself, that he'll bring on Callum Marshall. I'm hopeful that he'll bring on Potts. I'm hopeful that whoever we've got in that central defensive pairing, that they're able to put on a display and shut Arsenal out. I'm hopeful, grabbing at straws, granted, but hopeful. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What kind of chance have we got against Arsenal? I really can't say. I'm just hopeful that we can at least get in their faces and make it really uncomfortable for them, and we can come away with a win, or come away with a draw, or come away with not getting spanked. Okay, I'll take that. If you like what I do, keep on watching. I'll catch you again. But all I can say is, up the hammers! Catch you again. Bye now.